Praise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies.
Here we are, lesson number 16. This lesson is entitled, Jesus Went After People. There's kind of a thinking today that we just sit back and sit in our churches and wait for people to maybe stumble through our doors. The truth is that as you look through the Gospels, Jesus didn't do that. He didn't sit in a synagogue. Yes, he would go there and he would teach there, but he also made sure that each and every day he went out after people. Our passage is also found in the book of Mark. This is Mark chapter 5, verse 21. This passage continues right from the former lessons where he had taken the demons out of the man that was living in the cemetery. And 5:21 says, when Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was there. This is a pattern that I believe Jesus did because he wants us to follow it. How do I know that this was important to him? One of the last things that he said is recorded for us in the book of Acts. This is after he had been crucified and raised from the dead. In Acts chapter 1 and verse 8, he says this, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, and in the uttermost parts of the earth." So Jesus made it clear that we should be doing the same thing he did, and that is become his witnesses and reach out to the people around us. This has personal ties to us. I mentioned in my last video that at our church, we provide activities, outreaches that allow us to talk about our faith, to introduce ourselves to people. But it's also personal. This was Jesus going from town to town so he could reach people. Sometimes we have to get creative in it. I remember a couple of years ago, we had a big Christmas cantata at our church. In the town that I live in, it's a small farming community, but the town itself has an area called the Hamlet of Salem. And there's probably 15, 20 homes in this little section around our church. Outside of the hamlet, it's bigger. 2-acre minimum, beautiful homes. But here in the hamlet, different story. So this particular Christmas season, we had this cantata that we were doing. I had written a play for it. My girls were going to be in it. We were trying to think of how can we reach the people that live right near the church. My wife loves to cook. She loves to bake. And so she had this idea. She was going to bake cookies and pies, and she was going to give them to the people in the area here. And that's exactly what she did. She cooked up the cookies, she made them up in little baskets and pies, and she literally went door to door to all the homes around the church. Said, "Hi, my name's Cheryl. My husband's the pastor of the church. We have this Christmas play coming up. We'd like you to come." And she gave them the cookies and gave the pies. It was a wonderful outreach. Several of the people came by and was a part of our Christmas outreach. It was personal. It was important to her to let the people in the community know about our church and about us. That same idea is something you should be thinking about. Jesus said, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel." That's for us. It's our responsibility. In our last lesson, that bonus lesson, 15a, we saw that the man whose life had been changed couldn't stop talking about Jesus. I hope that you followed that lesson and that you've been looking for ways to talk about him. But this lesson kind of adds one more layer to it. Not only do you have to talk about him, sometimes you have to make your own opportunities. Go out and reach people. Jesus went from city to city and never gave up. He wants us to do